All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive. And oh boy, do we have a fascinating one for you all today.
This should be interesting.
Yeah, should be. Today's topic, you guys sent in a whole bunch of stuff for this. We're going to be looking at Terrifier and Art the Clown.
The killer clown who's been terrifying audiences lately.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because you send in Wikipedia entries and even a weird note that we'll get to at some point.
Should we be worried about that note?
Maybe. I don't
Right.
I don't know what's on it yet, but yeah, killer clowns, man, they just tap into something really primal, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They represent this sort of chaos and hidden evil beneath a facade of fun and laughter. It's a pretty potent combination.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like Art the Clown, I mean, he's really blown up in recent years. Like he's become this cultural phenomenon.
It's true. He's gone from these sort of like underground short films and indie horror movies to a bona fide horror icon.
He's kind of like a dark and edgy Mickey Mouse. You know what I mean?
I think that comparison might need a little work.
Right. Melanie, of course.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Art the Clown, he's everywhere now. It's amazing.
I think part of what makes him so fascinating is the ambiguity surrounding his origins. Like, we get these hints that he's something more than human. You know, the supernatural strength, the seeming immortality.
He doesn't spook, right?
Exactly. He's completely silent throughout the films, relying solely on his expressions and movements to communicate. And that just adds to the mystery and the fear.
It's those eyes, Berth. They just like bore into you.
It's Melanie Matt, and yes, those eyes are definitely unnerving. And the fact that he was played by two different actors early on, it was Mike Gianelli.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then David Howard Thornton took over the role for the more recent films.
Thornton really brings something special to the role, doesn't he?
Absolutely. His physicality, the way he moves, it's both unsettling and strangely captivating.
And you know what? I think a lot of people don't give him enough credit for his restraint. You know, he's playing this character who's incredibly violent and depraved.
And yet, there's a certain finesse to his performance.
Exactly. It's not just mindless, over-the-top gore. There's an intelligence behind those eyes, Gloriana.
It's Melanie Matt, and I think you're right. There's a method to Art's madness, and that makes him all the more disturbing.
Yeah, it's like he's an artist. You know what I mean? Like a painter. But instead of paint, he uses blood and guts.
That's a rather unsettling way to put it, Matt, but I see your point.
Sorry. Sometimes I get carried away.
It happens to the best of us, but speaking of Art's artistry, we should talk about his look. That signature black and white clown makeup.
Oh my God, it's so creepy, isn't it? So much creepier than Pennywise, I think.
I think it's that stark contrast, the black and white. It really highlights the grotesque nature of his violence, you know, and it's amazing to see how fans are interpreting his look, but there's something about the simplicity of the original design.
It's iconic, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's instantly recognizable, and it's become synonymous with this new wave of extreme horror.
But I think there's more to it than just the look. You know, there's something about the way he moves, the way he interacts with his victims.
You're getting into some pretty dark territory there, Matt. Are you sure you're okay with this?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just think it's fascinating how he can be so brutal, and yet there's this weird playfulness to him too. He's constantly toying with his victims like a cat with a mouse. It's like he gets off on their fear, you know.
That sadistic element is definitely a big part of his character, and it's something that has sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah, some people think it's too much, you know.
Right. They argue that the level of violence is gratuitous and exploitative, but others see it as a commentary on the desensitization of our culture.
Maybe it's both, Henrietta. You know what I mean?
It's Melanie, Matt, and that's a possibility. I think the Terrifier films are deliberately pushing boundaries, and they're not afraid to provoke a reaction.
And they're definitely getting a reaction look at how much buzz Terrifier 2 generated.
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge box office success, and it really put Art the Clown on the map.
You know, it's funny, though. We've been talking about all this violence and gore, but I was thinking about those sketches that Sienna's dad made, remember?
The ones that seem to foreshadow Art and his victims.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're suggesting that there's something more going on here, you know, something almost like destiny or fate.
That's a really interesting point, Matt. The Terrifier films, especially the second one, they do seem to hint at a deeper spiritual dimension.
Like maybe Art is some kind of demon or something.
Well, there's definitely that demonic imagery associated with him, the way he's resurrected, the way he seems to embody pure evil.
And Sienna, she's kind of like an angel, right?
She's definitely portrayed as a force of good, battling against this ultimate evil. It's almost biblical in a way.
It's pretty heavy stuff when you think about it.
It is, and I think that's one of the things that elevates the Terrifier films beyond just your typical slasher movies.
They're making you think You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're not just about the scares. They're exploring these deeper themes of good versus evil and the nature of fear itself.
And speaking of fear, did you see that note left with the sources?
I did see it. Yes, why?
Oh God, Brenda, you think she knows?
It's Melanie, Matt. And honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about it right now. Those sources are our focus today. Speculating about personal matters isn't really helpful in our analysis.
But what if she found my DeviantArt page? It's all art. Beatrice, all art.
Again, Matt, I think we should stick to the provided material.
Okay, you're right. I can't help but wonder.
I understand, but let's try to stay focused. For now, we have a lot more ground to cover with Art the Clown and the Terrifier franchise.
Okay, you're right. Let's move on.
Good. Now, where were we? Yes, Art's wider cultural impact. He's not just confined to the big screen anymore, is he?
Oh yeah, he's everywhere. He's in comic books. He even popped up in that Peacock series, Bupkis.
And let's not forget the video games. He's in Call of Duty now.
Call of Duty. Can you believe that? And there's that Ice Nine Kills song, a work of art.
And he's even getting his own video game, Terrifier, the arcade game coming out in 2025, I believe.
It's incredible. It's like he's become this unstoppable force in pop culture.
He really has, and it's a testament to the power of the character and the creativity of Damien Leone.
I mean, who would have thought that a silent killer clown would become this global phenomenon?
It's a strange world we live in, Matt, that's for sure.
It is, but you know what I kind of love? It's exciting to see something so unique and so unapologetically horrifying capture the imagination of so many people.
I think there's something to be said for that, too. Horror can be a powerful form of entertainment, and Art the Clown is certainly pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable.
And maybe that's what we need right now, something to shake things up, something to make us confront our fears.
Perhaps, but I think we should tread carefully with that line of thinking.
Oh, come on, Gwendolyn. Where's your sense of adventure?
It's Melanie, Matt, and I'm all for exploring the dark side of human nature, but let's not forget that this is still entertainment.
Okay, fair enough. But you have to admit there's something alluring about the darkness, isn't there?
Perhaps there is, Matt, perhaps there is, but that's a discussion for another time.
You're probably right.
Now, why don't we take a short break and we'll come back and delve even deeper into the world of Terrifier and Art the Clown.
Sounds good to me. I need a drink after all this clown talk.
I think we all do. We were talking about Art's impact on pop culture, and it really is remarkable.
He's everywhere you see him. It's like he's staring right at you. Those eyes, they just pierce right through you.
Yes, his eyes are definitely a striking feature, but it's important to remember that this is a character who's committed some truly horrific acts.
But that's what makes him so fascinating, Beatrice. That darkness, that danger. I mean, he's like a forbidden fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's Melanie, Matt, and while I understand the appeal of the macabre, it's important to keep things in perspective. We're talking about a fictional character here.
Oh, I know. I can't help but be drawn to his unique charms.
Charms, Matt, really.
Well, yeah, he's got that mischievous smile, those playful eyes, and that nose. Oh my God, that nose.
I'm not sure I'd describe his nose as charming, Matt. It's rather pointy and sinister looking.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. It's so dangerous, so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Just like him. I bet it's hard as a rock, too.
I really don't think we need to dwell on the physical attributes of a fictional killer clown, Matt.
Okay. Sorry. Getting a little carried away again.
It happens, but perhaps we should steer the conversation back to Art's evolution as a character. We were talking about those early short films.
Oh, yeah, like The Ninth Circle. That's where it all began, right?
It is, and it's interesting to see how Damien Leone's vision for the character has evolved over time.
He's gone from this kind of background player to the main event.
Exactly, and each film has added new layers to his persona, his brutality, his cunning, his seeming immortality.
It's like he's constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And that's what makes him so terrifying. He's not bound by the rules of reality. He's a force of pure chaos.
I bet he gives amazing hugs, though. Those big, strong arms just squeezing the life out of you.
Matt, I really don't think that's an appropriate thing to say.
Oh, come on, Brunhilde, lighten up a little.
It's Melanie, and I'm all for having a lively discussion, but let's try to keep things respectful.
Okay, you're right. I can't help but imagine what it would be like to be in his presence, to feel his power.
I think it's safe to say that being in Art the Clown's presence would be a terrifying experience, not something to fantasize about.
But maybe terrifying in a good way. You know what I mean? Like a roller coaster or a haunted house.
I doubt it, Matt. But speaking of haunted houses, remember that strange interruption we had earlier?
Oh, yeah, that guy with the watering can? What was that all about?
I have no idea, but it was rather unsettling, wasn't it?
I bet he's got a secret crush on Art, too. You know what I mean? Like, he just couldn't contain himself. He had to burst in here and declare his love.
I highly doubt that Matt, and frankly your obsession with his character, is starting to make me uncomfortable.
Oh, don't worry, Gwendolyn. It's all harmless fun.
Yeah?
I just appreciate his artistic vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's Melanie, Matt, and honestly, I'm not... I do know what you mean, but perhaps we should move on.
Okay, fine. But can we at least talk about his costume?
Yes.
I mean, those black and white stripes, they're so classic, so timeless.
I suppose we could discuss his costume. It is a rather striking design.
And those big floppy shoes, I bet they squeak when he walks.
I wouldn't know, Matt. I've never had the pleasure.
Oh, you should look them up online. There's some great pictures of them on DeviantArt. I bet they'd look great on me. Don't you think?
I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer that, Matt.
Oh, come on, Gertrude. Don't be shy.
It's Melanie, Matt, and I'm starting to think that this break we were talking about earlier might be a good idea.
No, I'm good. I love talking about art. You know, he's so inspiring.
Inspiring in what way, Matt?
In every way, he's fearless, he's creative, he's not afraid to be himself, even if that means being a bloodthirsty killer clown.
I think we have very different definitions of the word inspiring, Matt.
Maybe, but that's what makes life interesting, right? Different perspectives.
I suppose so, Matt. I suppose so, but for the sake of my sanity and the well-being of our listeners, I think we should try to steer clear of Art the Clown for a little while.
Okay, you win. We can talk about something else, but just promise me we'll come back to him later.
We'll see, Matt. We'll see. Okay, Matt, I think we need to wrap up this deep dive. I'm not sure I can handle much more Art the Clown talk for one day.
But we haven't even talked about the note yet. Brenda, the one with the dirty little secret. Maybe it's about Art. Maybe he's got a secret admirer out there.
It's Melanie, Matt, and honestly, I don't think that note is relevant to our discussion about the Terrifier franchise.
But what if it's a clue? You know, like maybe it's from one of his victims, or maybe it's from him. Maybe he's trying to tell us something.
Matt, we're talking about a fictional character. He can't send us notes.
But what if he's real? What if he's out there right now watching us, waiting for the perfect moment to strike?
Matt, you're letting your imagination run wild again. Remember, we were talking about Art's ability to tap into our fears. Well, it seems like he's doing a pretty good job of tapping into yours.
That's what I love about him, Beatrice. The
Yeah.
fear, the excitement, the unknown. He's like a walking nightmare come to life.
It's Melanie, Matt, and I think you're starting to romanticize this character a bit too much. Remember, he's a brutal killer, not some misunderstood anti-hero.
But that's what makes him so compelling, Gwendolyn. The contrast between the clownish facade and the cold-blooded violence. It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
It's Melanie, Matt, and I understand the appeal of the macabre, but we need to be careful about glorifying this kind of behavior.
No, I'm not glorifying it. I'm just appreciating it. You know, like a fine wine or a work of art.
I'm not sure I'd compare Art the Clown to a fine wine or a work of art, but I see your point. He's definitely a unique and unforgettable character.
And those shoes, Henrietta. Have you seen those shoes? They're amazing.
It's Melanie, Matt, and I think we've reached a point where we need to agree to disagree on this one.
Okay, fine. But just one more thing I have to say. I have to get it off my chest.
Matt, please don't say anything you'll regret.
I just love his nose. Okay, it's so pointy and perfect. And I just want
Matt, I'm begging you, please stop talking.
Okay, I'm done. Sorry, I got a little carried away.
I think we all did, Matt. I think we all did well, folks. I think that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Terrifier and Art the Clown.
It was fun, wasn't it?
I'll let you be the judge of that, Matt, but I will say this Art the Clown is a character who stays with you whether you like it or not.
He's definitely left his mark on me, that's for sure.
And on pop culture in general, he's become a true horror icon, and it seems like his reign of terror is only just beginning.
I can't wait to see what he does next.
Me neither, Matt, me neither. So until next time, stay safe out there and try not to run into any killer clowns.
And if you do, tell them Matt sent you.
I don't think that's a good idea, Matt. All right, folks, that's it for us. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.